Hello, fellow backtrackers. I'm Alex McClellan.
And I'm Mason McClellan.
And we're the Backtrack Brothers. We are here today to discuss the movie Small Soldiers.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to toss it to Mason, who's going to give you the plot synopsis.
Yes, and because of how 90s this movie is, I'm gonna read it in a 90s trailer voice.
Oh boy.
Two factions of toys, the Commando Elite and the Gorgonites, which turn sentient after being programmed with a military microprocessor, put two families in danger when the Commandos ultimately turn lethal. The story revolves around two neighboring families, primarily through Alan Abernathy, played by Gregory Smith, and Christy Fimple, played by Kirsten Dunst.
Great job with that plot synopsis, Mason. Really enjoyed that voice. Now, why don't you go ahead and tell us, what were your thoughts on the movie? What was your reaction to it?
Yeah, so overall, I mean, for me, there's really two halves to this movie.
Okay.
One I didn't like, the other one, very entertaining.
Okay, interesting. I'm really interested in hearing this.
So for me, like, yeah, it just depends on which half you're talking about.
Gotcha. Are you splitting it like first half, second half?
Basically.
Okay.
And there's elements in like the first half of the movie which I did like because they were more like the second half of the movie.
Gotcha.
But,
I see what you're saying. So you like more of what goes on in the second and third act of this movie as opposed to the whole setup, which I can understand.
Yeah.
Definitely the back half of this movie is definitely more action-packed, for lack of a better term.
And I didn't really, well, first off, I didn't really find the movie that funny.
No, I get it. I can understand why you would feel that way.
I didn't really find it to me that funny, and also I didn't really care too much about like the characters.
Okay.
I didn't really love any of them. Even the kid, he was kind of bratty towards everybody, and the parents were, very hard on him. And when it's like character, it's how you develop characters, but it's still you have to have something to like about people.
Interesting.
I didn't see anything to like about these guys.
Very
I didn't
interesting.
care about them.
Oh, that's cool. See, I take a totally different perspective. I actually love all the characters in this, but I totally understand your perspective. I agree. This isn't a knee slapper by any means. This is not. There's a lot of corny dialogue and stuff, but I think that kind of fits the more action-oriented part of this film.
Yes.
I will say, I also think there's definitely more action in the second half. But I actually, considering I've watched this movie 3 times in the last 2 weeks, I've really spent a lot of time with it, and I actually really enjoy the build-up in the beginning. I think there's a lot of different things going on in terms of like the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
It's very anti-war and all that stuff. So, and kind of just the setup of the two clans. I really like how the business is set up. I think this is the teenage Toy Story. And it's there's a lot more involvement. Obviously, in Toy Story, the humans are almost like an afterthought.
Yeah.
And they don't actually interact with the living toys, where it's very different in this movie, clearly.
Yeah.
But just kind of like, obviously, it's the same idea of toys coming to life. But then this one is really focused on a teenager, the angst going on with him, which I thought was kind of funny you didn't relate to it, because I thought you would totally buy into that, considering you are an angsty teenager. I think what's great about this, if you're going into it thinking, oh, this is just gonna be another Toy Story knockoff type of thing, they shoot that away really fast. First off, they do have a lot of setup, like before the toys even really start moving. There's like 15, 20 minutes of the movie before that even happens.
Just like the company.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is very different in terms of it's got references to alcohol and drugs and cursing. There's plenty of cursing in this movie. Like, this is a solid PG-13. So if you're looking for something that you can relate to on a toy action figure level, but not feel like it's Disney pandering to you at 5 years old, this is a good movie you can land on. There's definitely gonna be some rose-tinted glasses on my face because I grew up with this movie. It's kind of good hearing a fresh perspective from you, but I don't want to go too much into detail, because if you haven't seen this movie yet, we're just gonna give you a general idea. If you had to give it a letter grade just for somebody who's gonna go watch it right now, what would you say?
I'd say I'll give it a B.
Okay, that's good. I'll give it an A-.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not saying this is the best movie in the world, but it's a fun, entertaining movie, especially if you like the 90s.
And for me, as a 15-year-old kid who always needs to be entertained, I feel like the first half of the movie was kind of slow and boring.
Yeah.
But it definitely picks up.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. Thanks for checking out this video, fellow backtrackers.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, doing that.
Yeah, if you got a video or a movie you want us to cover, just let us know in the comments.
Follow Instagram, Facebook, and all of our socials.
Or don't. I don't really give a shit.